Today, I'd like to talk about the witch's trance. We need to explore this idea of magical states of consciousness. In our everyday waking state, most of us have a very limited access to the powers of our minds. And the deep mind is where the magic happens. During sleep, everybody unlocks the gateway to a different world. And that's where dreams transport us to realms beyond the waking reality. Some experts interpret dreams as being brain functions or therapeutic processes that our minds are going through. But for most witches, the dream world holds profound significance as its own separate reality. When practicing magic or connecting with spirits, gods, goddesses, elementals, etc., we must transcend the boundaries of ordinary states of consciousness and enter into a different frequency of being. And to access these mystical, magical frequencies, we undergo a training so that we are able to enter a magical trance, going within ourselves at will. There are many techniques that people use to go into these trance-type states. It is in this deep mind that the magic happens, not in the surface mind. When we explore these deeper states of consciousness, we unlock all of those hidden potentials within ourselves. That's where we can connect to the vast energies that make our magic potent. Magic is a journey of self-discovery and spiritual exploration, where we can unveil and harness the power to create positive changes in our lives and in our world. And we do that very frequently within the context of a magical trance. This witch's trance, magical trance, is similar to the techniques used by hypnotherapists who have a way of working that seems almost like magic. In Witchcraft, we learn to access the deep mind at will. And once we can do that and master these different states of awareness and consciousness, we train ourselves to explore different planes on the astral and travel into other dimensions, other lifetimes. As we explore these deep realms, we unlock the extraordinary potential that exists within our own minds. And it's through focused intention in this heightened awareness that we tap into those vast cosmic energies that surround us so that we can work our magic effectively. When you're working in the astral planes, you encounter different landscapes and beings from other dimensions. And we talk about this more intensely in my course on astral projection. We recognize that there's an interconnectedness to all things. And that's one of the great truths that we viscerally start to understand as we go into this type of trance work. Like I said before, hypnotherapy and magic are different in approach, but both of them are tapping into the profound power of the mind. By dedicating ourselves and practicing these states of consciousness, we can unlock all of those hidden potentials and work our magic in a way that gives us results, and we feel the results. We see the results, and we no longer have to work our magic on blind faith. We start to have that faith that is based on experience rather than just belief. We will be talking more in later lessons about communicating with the spirit world and the concept of spirit guides and spirit mentors who can guide us on our spiritual journey. And those guides share wisdom and provide insights, information, and guidance. But you can't access those until you've learned to lower the veil of your conscious mind and recognize that day-to-day waking consciousness is very limited, and it actually hides the bulk of who we are and what our power is. Direct experience is much more important than podcasts or books or lectures. Reading and learning is good. It helps us to understand certain concepts intellectually, helps us to discuss things because we have a common vocabulary that we can establish. But it's through our direct experience with magic and with the spirit world that we learn. Books or lectures or classes or discussions online can point us in a direction, but we must experience things firsthand in order to learn them. And that's why most of what we do in a witch's primer deals with practical work. But we have to start out with some theory. The significance of entering a trance during your magical practice cannot be overstated. Maintaining a heightened state of consciousness and unwavering focus is crucial in the magical arts. Yet many aspiring magicians and witches struggle to reach the states of consciousness necessary to access their power because they get distracted so easily. To master the art of magic, you must train your mind to effortlessly enter into those states of consciousness at will while staying focused. Grounding and centering exercises like what we learned in the beginning are essential foundations. And then from there, we move farther. There are so many various methods that you can use to induce a magical trance. There are things like rhythmic activities, such as drumming or dancing. The key is to perform these actions consciously with heightened awareness and focused attention and not allow your mind to wander. I want to talk today about an exercise that I call the Orb of Light. This exercise helps you to access your deep mind and strengthen your aura both at the same time. And this is accomplished by visualizing a radiant globe of light. With practice, you will gain the ability to perform this exercise very quickly, allowing yourself to enter into that deep state, that trance state, in a feeling of a protected space at will, very quickly. I have a recording of the Orb of Light that's attached to this lesson. And it's something that you may want to work with at least a few times. And then pretty soon you shouldn't need the recording. You can establish it all on your own. Remember too, as discussed in Lesson 1, spiritual purification is a very powerful process that strengthens and purifies your aura, which is the energetic field around you. And by practicing these things, you over time create a protective and purified aura. You establish that and you reinforce that. Spiritual purification, grounding and centering, and now this Orb of Light meditation are helpful and important so that when you do start working in the spirit world, which is so important in witchcraft, that you are reinforced, you are safe, you are protected, and you can maintain your focus and not get distracted. The spirit world has so many different planes with so many different unique characteristics and frequencies, just like in the physical world. When your spiritual energy aligns harmoniously with a specific plane, you attract that plane to yourself. You automatically go there. And you notice that the type of spirits and spiritual vibrations that exist in that plane are harmonious to that environment. It's very much like different neighborhoods have different inhabitants. Some neighborhoods feel scary and sketchy, and some neighborhoods feel opulent, and some neighborhoods feel friendly and pretty, and some neighborhoods feel safe. Same thing is true on the astral plane. It's advantageous to you magically. If you can achieve a magical state of consciousness while keeping your aura strong and clear, because then you are at one with your magical power and you are much more likely to have success in your magical workings than if you aren't able to establish and maintain those magical states, or if your mind wanders, or if your aura is weak, or if your mind feels as though you're vulnerable and unsafe. As part of this process that I'm discussing with the Orb of Light, you're able to use that as a powerful technique to not only strengthen your aura, but you can view that orb itself as a vehicle for traveling on this astral plane. It's important to recognize that when you go into a trance is one thing, but it's also how to come out of that trance that's important. When you're done with your magic, it's important to return purposefully to what we might call your ordinary existence. Stamp the ground, clap your hands, disperse any lingering energy. Make sure that you see that orb of light dispersed. Clearly communicate to your mind that this is the end of this particular magical practice. This way, you stay focused and effective. While in your trance, you want to fully embrace it, but when you come out of your trance, you want to sever the ties to that trance. Some people talk about it being dangerous if you don't completely come out of the trance. It's not that it's dangerous. It's just sloppy. It's lackluster. You don't establish clear delineations in your mind about when you're in one state of consciousness versus the other state of consciousness, and it can rob your power to be effective. That's all. Daily meditation is so helpful for anybody who's walking on a path of awakening and spiritual transformation, but it's especially powerful for witches and people that walk a magical path. Through regular meditation, we balance and direct all of the forces in a very positive way, and that helps us to create those profound changes in our lives that we desire and to maintain those changes once we've established them. By dedicating ourselves to some sort of daily meditational practice, we establish a strong foundation and stay centered in our spiritual, magical purpose. This regular daily practice allows us to connect with spiritual mentors, gain valuable insight about our lives, our purpose, and our place in the world. It makes it easier for us to be taught, guided, and directed by higher energies. And daily meditation empowers us to make a positive impact on the world around us, not only for our personal goals, but for the benefit of everybody that knows us. Instead of drifting through life, meditation offers us a clearer perspective, revealing our true nature and our true purpose and function here. Regardless of your spiritual or magical path, meditation is a powerful tool for discovering your true will and your true purpose. Diving deeply within ourselves and embracing these deeper parts of ourselves and these magical states of consciousness regularly, we open ourselves up to not only personal awareness, but spiritual awareness, soul awareness, and definitely magical awareness. And this regular deep practice encourages us to have a conscious connection to the spirit world, allowing us to, like I said, receive guidance and wisdom beyond our normal, ordinary perceptions of the world. I encourage you to embrace this idea of daily meditation and learning how to do this trance. It expands your abilities exponentially, and trying to work magic without it is not very effective at all. Just doing some ritual gestures here and there don't have the same impact as if you're doing those ritual gestures in a deepened state. I would recommend that you don't do the Orb of Light until you've started working on regular grounding and centering for at least a week or so. I find that the Orb of Light is a very effective and valuable tool, and I use it in several of my courses. It's also important for you to focus on those daily spiritual purification tools that we gave you in week 1, plus your food consecration. You don't have to do all the spiritual purification exercises every day, obviously. Just take one and do it. Maybe take the bath or the spiritual shower. Maybe you're going to do fire meditation one day, whatever it is. Just working with the elements, doing spiritual purification, consecrating your food, grounding and centering. That's a basic practice right there. But then when you start adding that Orb of Light and that trance work, then you're starting to get into a deeper understanding of connecting with the powers that are potent to make changes in your life. Also, now's a good time to start, if you haven't yet, gathering your tools. You don't have to be fancy. You don't have to be expensive. Humble tools are fine. I want to mention one thing about your altar, and that's water. Water has a very special ability to attract and hold spiritual energy. Using fresh water on your altar is symbolic, but it's also powerful. The positive energy that you cultivate will be absorbed by the water. After a ceremony or a meditation or a spell, you can sprinkle that water in your home or pour it over your threshold while stating an intention. Use that water, but also don't keep the same water day after day. If you put a cup of water or a bowl of water to represent the element of water on your altar, make sure you understand that that water has absorbed a lot of energy. And so you want to make sure that you replace that with some fresh water. If it's been a banishing, you recognize that maybe that problem has gotten sucked into that water and you can just go toss it down the drain. That's it on the lesson on the magical trance. It's something that you can just start with little by little. There's no rush. My mantra with the craft and magic is slowly is holy. So get started on your basics. And if you are grounding and centering already, and you're doing your spiritual purifications already, then now is the time to start learning how to perform a witch's trance. You may want to learn how to build that orb at will, quickly and easily. You can start with listening to the recording of the meditation and then doing it on your own. If you don't need to listen to the recordings, you can just do it on your own. And the more you do it, the faster and more efficient you get at it, and the deeper your trance states become. And pretty soon, you won't need people like me teaching you things. You won't need books. You won't need to ask. You'll be right there. You'll learn it straight from your guides. You'll learn it straight from source. And so that's another reason why these trance states are so helpful, is because you learn much more quickly. And you learn by experience, and you know what works because it works. Now you're starting to understand that this is where the rubber meets the road. It's your deep mind that does all the magic. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. Until next time, blessed be.